There's something undeniably powerful about a man who walks into a room and doesn't need to be seen to be noticed. He's not performing. He's not seeking attention. But the energy around him shifts. That's the kind of man women don't forget, not because he's loud or charming, but because he feels different. He carries a quiet strength that speaks louder than words. You've probably seen it. That one guy who doesn't try hard, who doesn't even seem to care, and yet women chase him, think about him, obsess over him. It's not just about looks or status. It's about presence. It's about a man who owns his energy fully. The way he carries himself, the way he speaks, the way he responds. Instead of reacts, it creates a feeling, a magnetic tension. He's calm when others are anxious. He's composed when things get chaotic. That stability becomes irresistible to a woman who lives in a world full of emotional noise. Most women are surrounded by men who are either too eager to please or too emotionally immature to hold space. So when she meets a man who doesn't flinch when she tests him, who doesn't get pulled into her storms, but instead becomes the anchor, it hits differently. His calm makes her feel something she rarely gets to feel. Grounded. That grounded feeling becomes a craving. It's not because he said the perfect thing or did something flashy, but because in a world of reactions, he was stillness. She felt safe. When a woman feels emotionally safe, something unlocks. She stops performing. She leans in. She attaches. Because she's not used to a man being a rock. She's used to being the one who controls the mood. Gosh. But now she's not in control. He is. And that's what changes everything. Asterisk, purpose, changes the game. When a man lives with intention, when his time, energy, and focus are pointed toward something bigger than validation, he becomes a different force entirely. Women don't become obsessed with men who revolve around them. They become obsessed with men who are already in motion, already building, already driven by something deeper than her approval. That's the paradox. The more you center your life around her, the more invisible you become. But the moment she realizes you have a mission, a path, a vision she can't control or interrupt, curiosity takes over. She starts to wonder what you're working on, why you're not available, why your time is so protected. That mystery pulls her in. It makes her feel like she's stepping into a story that already existed before her. And that's what creates depth. You're not asking her to be your purpose. You already have one, and now she has to earn a place in that world. That's the kind of energy that flips the dynamic. You're no longer the man trying to be chosen. You're the man doing the choosing, because your time is valuable. Your attention isn't handed out. Your presence is earned, not assumed. When a woman senses that your world won't collapse if she walks away, that your life won't pause if she gets emotional, she begins to respect you differently. You're not swayed by mood swings or tests. You're rooted. You're consistent. And that consistency makes her feel like she can finally relax. Because for once, she's not carrying the emotional weight. Gosh. She's stepping into the orbit of a man who leads with clarity. And that kind of man who values his mission more than the moment is the one she finds herself thinking about long after the moment is gone. Asterisk, emotional unpredictability, anchored in psychological stability, is a critical factor in creating long-term emotional attachment. This trait should not be confused with inconsistency or volatility. Rather, it reflects a nuanced, layered emotional presence that remains internally cohesive, yet externally dynamic. Most individuals, particularly in relational contexts, seek patterns. When a man behaves predictably, they're constantly affectionate. Or persistently distant, he becomes emotionally legible and therefore less intriguing. However, when he demonstrates variability in emotional expression while still maintaining core stability, the response it elicits is significantly different. This form of emotional variance stimulates a cognitive process in this case, the woman, where she begins to analyze, interpret, and forecast his next emotional move. The brain's reward circuitry is highly responsive to intermittent reinforcement, phenomenon well documented in behavioral psychology. This means the emotional highs are felt more intensely when they are not guaranteed. A man who can transition fluidly from moments of intimacy to disciplined distance without becoming reactive or cold engages this circuitry in a way that creates not just attraction, but emotional fixation. Moreover, this unpredictability is further amplified when it is expressed with emotional control. He does not oscillate due to mood swings or emotional instability. Instead, his shifts in presence are deliberate and contextually grounded. He may lean in with warmth during a moment of vulnerability, then pull back to re-engage with his purpose, creating a rhythm that keeps emotional engagement alive. This dynamic fosters a psychological tether, wherein she begins replaying interactions, reinterpreting subtext, and anticipating future encounters. Such cognitive and emotional investment inevitably deepens her attachment. In essence, the man becomes not a fixed character in her life, but a compelling narrative one she cannot stop reading. Asterisk. Selective vulnerability is a trait so misunderstood that most men either weaponize it to gain sympathy or avoid it entirely, in fear of appearing weak. But the truth is, when used with intention and restraint, it becomes one of the most emotionally gripping forces a man can express. It's not about pouring out your heart or sharing every wound. It's about offering glimpses into your depth moments of honesty that reveal your humanity without compromising your composure. A man who shares just enough to show he's lived, struggled, and overcome creates an emotional contrast that's magnetic. He isn't trying to be a victim. He's showing her that beneath the calm exterior lies a man who has weathered storms, who carries scars, but who never let those scars define him. This kind of vulnerability doesn't invite pity, it earns respect, because it shows emotional mastery. You're not seeking validation. You're not telling stories to get her attention or empathy. You're simply stating truth with presence. You speak about a past heartbreak not to reopen it, but to show what it taught you. You reveal a family wound not to gain her nurturing, but to reveal your depth and how you chose to rise above it. That restraint makes her feel trusted, chosen, not overwhelmed. And that creates intimacy far more powerful than any compliment or physical gesture. The key is in the balance. You don't spill. You don't chase closeness. You let your strength speak through subtle honesty. And when you show you felt deeply but refuse to be broken, she doesn't just see a man, she sees a fortress with a human heart. That image stays with her, because most men hide or overshare. You do neither. You reveal. That revelation becomes a hook, pulling her further into your emotional world. Asterisk. There comes a point in every connection where a woman will test a man, not always consciously, not always maliciously, but inevitably. It's part of human nature, especially in romantic dynamics. These tests are emotional feelers, subconscious attempts to understand your strength, your stability, your boundaries. She might say something provocative just to see if she can rattle you. She might withdraw slightly to see if you'll chase. She might question your values to see if you'll fold. Most men fail these tests because they take them personally. They explain themselves, they react, they chase. And in doing so, they shatter the very mystery and power that drew her in to begin with. But the man who passes these tests doesn't do so by playing games. He passes by staying grounded. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't argue. He doesn't react with anger or fear. He simply holds his frame. That frame tells her everything. Says, you don't control my emotional state. Says, I'm not here to earn your approval. I'll already approve of myself. And that message, whether she understands it or not, hits deep. It disarms her. It unsettles her. And it pulls her in. Because now, instead of being in control of the dynamic, she's navigating a new territory, one where she can't predict or manipulate the outcome. And that mystery, that feeling of not being able to fully figure you out, becomes obsession. It's not that you're cold, it's that you're complete. You're emotionally self-led, not emotionally dependent. And that is rare in a world full of men who fold under pressure. A man who can calmly walk away, stand firm, and protect his inner peace becomes unforgettable. She may test you again, but this time it's different, because now she's the one wondering how to earn your reaction.